First of all, I'd like to thank this audience and, of course, the Project Managers Conference and the Institute for inviting me here. So I think after Sister Shivani's session, right, we've gone into a real meditative mode. So I would, since my topic is disruptions, right, I want to disrupt this room. So I'm going to request everybody to stand up, please. And I want you to introduce to yourself the next person next to you. Also, give him a key insight which you have been carrying this week or you've been always carrying, in your life. And I'll tell you, you'll see why I'm making you to do this exercise, because one of my charts, brings this together. So please, and I know, Commander Naveen, this is coming out of my time, but I've budgeted for it. So quickly, introduce yourself to the next person. Share a key insight, which you've had. Can you request people not to enter? It's too much. Once you've done that, you can start sitting down, so I know that, we've done that. But that doesn't mean everybody sits down at the same time, right? Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much, Project Management Institute, for inviting me here. Commander Kataria, thank you very much for letting me come here and speak. So I work for IBM. I'm a proud IBMer and work in the infrastructure services, managing cloud, and we always see the disruptions happening around the world. So I'm going to just share with you my insights, on the disruption which we are looking in the industry. So, first of all, gone are the days when business as usual was good, right? If you still think that business as usual is good enough, then it is no more. I think Commander Kataria, when he opened, he said if you take the Fortune 500 of 2000, half of those companies, actually he did a lower percentage, half of those companies don't exist. They have been even taken over or they've been shut down. So you can all see, on a personal note, my disruption happened when Siri came, and they said, "Oh, Siri will obey you all the time." I was excited, but later on I realized that she doesn't understand my accent, so it was no more a disruption for me at all. That was a joke, guys. You can laugh. We don't have to be so serious. All right. So one of the things which we all need to understand, what is digital transformation? And for a common man, like even for me and everybody, I think we all think, as we all studied this when we were in kindergarten, this story about the elephant and the blind man, which are trying to feel the elephant, and everybody has their own consensus that, what the elephant looks like. And I think that's exactly what the digital transformation today is to many of the companies, to many of us, when we are doing it, whether it is big data, cloud, all of the above, and how does this all come together? So one of the things is that companies who got this together and right are innovative and they are moving on. The companies who did not perished very quickly. And also sometimes, some of our companies think that if digital means I'm going to go and replace my IT with a brand new system and I'll become digital. That's not true, because if you're going to take the same processes, and make them automation or automate them, it's basically garbage in and garbage out, right? So moving on. So digital transformation, so what is it? It's basically not just about technology. It's a whole customer experience. It's a whole change. It's a whole transformation which a company has to go through to give a customer experience. It is just not about bringing in the IT. It's all of the above. You can see, and I'm just going to go there, time to time. So first of all, collaboration, right? Before I go, I'll give you the Airbnb story, right? Everybody knows Airbnb story? Anybody who doesn't? I'll just quickly touch on it. So these 3 college graduates want to rent their apartment, right? And they came up with this great idea of Airbnb. IT was a strategic partner to them, not a support system. And that's where it all starts to happen, because imagine if they sat down and say, hey, I have this, let me make a great IT system or platform where people can go and start renting and giving their apartments. They would have been no different than all the other property or real estate sites which are there. They had something unique. They did not just look at the IT as the main thing. They were looking at it from a customer experience. And this is the term, I will keep using it again and again, customer experience, because in the end, disruption only happens because the customer experience changes completely, transforms, right? First of all, you have the disruptions, where the new companies have just completely come and disrupted the market. Your Airbnb's, Uber, because their model was completely new. Then you have companies where you have, they have changed their digital supplies or services into a more digital thing, like airlines, right? If that, most of the 50% of the revenue of all the airlines is now coming through the digital. So they have changed how they provide services to them. But coming back, give you a quick holistic view of the digital transformation. First of all, everybody knows these are the three buckets, right, which we use, people, technology, processes. Within these three buckets, the transformation also happens. First of all, collaboration. Gone are the days where you went with an idea to your boss and said, oh, this is the idea I have, great idea, but don't tell it to the person who's working with me, right? It is my idea. We've all done that. We're all guilty of that. Hands up. Who's not guilty of that? I am. Come on, this is a very nice audience. They're not guilty of it, right? They've not put their colleague under the bus. Fantastic, So it has to be collaborative, because if you're not collaborative, if, in sharing information, in sharing what you want to do is not going to happen. It is not going to be it's not going to, go towards the transformation. Mindset. It's a cultural change. The whole company has to go through a cultural change. It is just not IT, or it's not just putting something there which looks like digital. I had somebody saying, oh, I have become, you have people saying, oh, I am digital because I use WhatsApp and email in my company. That's not digital, guys. It's the customer experience. And customer experience does not come, just with that. The first step is, yes, IT is important. It has to be seen as a core competency, not just a support system. Because it is, gone are the days when IT was, looked at the CIOs got the budget and they went. It is not there, because the business and IT are almost together. Collaboration between the teams, collaboration between everybody, not just who are you sitting at. Today we have networks. Today we have people who are, part of certain groups. Everything can be, you can be sitting here and be connected to thousands of people around the world, right? That's what the collaboration is all about. Mindset change, of course, the change in the culture, because you can't be now looking at, okay, I'm going to produce this, whether you like it or not, take it or not take it, is not going to go there. I think the best part is where I really want to spend some time is the new talent, the reskilling which needs to happen. I wish I can go back to my university and ask them for a refund, because whatever they taught me is going to be irrelevant, is almost getting irrelevant, and will be almost irrelevant, by the next 5 years. So I wish I could go back and say, hey, guys, not worth it. Can I get my money back? It's visual thinking. Maybe I'm going to go and try it. But what are the new skills which are going to be there? Your new skills you need are people who can consume information, people who can quickly look at the information and make a decision. I had one of my mentors, and she used to say, wherever there's chaos, there's opportunity. Today, there's a chaos of information which we are all looking at. There is so much of data. And if you have kids, you all have kids, some are growing up, getting into the university. I have one who's, finishing his graduation. It's no more about engineering or all those things, accountants, all those things will be automated. I was reading one of the McKinsey's articles somewhere. They said, in today's world, 40 to 80% of the workforce can be automated. But that doesn't mean it is going to have an adverse effect, but it's actually going to create new jobs, which we need to reskill, retrain ourselves. So we need to go and ultimately unskill ourselves, unlearn ourselves, right? And then start learning again. And of course, people do talk about artificial intelligence and how intelligence is going to be coming in. Guys, we need to be intelligent than them, to start working and make sure we use them for a better productivity and quality to provide a customer experience. Now I'm going to come to customer centricity. Again, customer experience is everything which is in the middle. The first thing is that gone are the days where you could afford not to talk to your customers. You had a middleman, somebody who bought from you, a wholesaler, a retailer who took stuff from you and you never saw your end customer. But today that's all changing. You need to provide regular feedback. It's a two-way street now. The customers give you feedback like this, right? You go and you don't like something, you go on their website and give a feedback, right? That's what is happening. It's become both ways. Earlier it was only used to be one way. Now, it has to be real customer focus as well, not just fancy English, which we come across, the vision statement. We would like to delight our customers. There is no how behind it. There's just a statement which is being written there, and as management and people of the company, we always try to figure out, hey, how do you delight our customers? Your delight of the customer is giving them the right data, analyzing the data for them, giving them apps, having a feedback mechanism which goes, both ways, and then developing on that mechanism. And there are enough of examples here. We have Uber, Airbnb, who went for the customer satisfaction and customer delight, right? Not just with there. We all know Uber, we all know Amazon, everything. Can you name me a couple of Indian companies who are leading the digital wave? Anyone? Sorry, I can't hear you. Chai Point, okay. Ola. Paytm. Okay. Guys, one of the companies which has been leading a digital transformation and transforming their products, and we are not even, naming them, and they're probably leading, and they're actually on there with the likes of Uber and Starbucks and everybody, is Asian Paints. They make white paint. How boring. Nothing sexy about it, making white paint. There's no way. Where does the customer centricity come here? No, nowhere. But they have actually digitally transformed all their supply chain. And they're actually, their names and their research, the big gurus of digital world are actually looking at them, and quoting them, as one of the Indian companies, a proud moment for a company like from India at that stage, which is being quoted there. So, it's a great moment for us. Then I'm going to quickly go back, move on from a customer centricity or a customer delight. The other key ingredient is the business model. Now we can go, this is a very important thing, but it's also a very gray area because there is no definition which is there for a correct business model. Every business model has to be different for the company. It has, the company people have to decide what suits for their customer and for themselves and for their suppliers. But also, in the meantime, sometimes we go and start creating business models which are completely locked down. They are too much standardized that you cannot breathe in them. There is too much of control put, where you cannot do anything in there. So we have to take an option. The companies who want to go digital, they have to draw a very thin, fine line. Do they want control or do they want innovation? Do they want to, be completely having a standardized process, or do they want their employees to have them be innovative? So there is a small balance, and it has to be worked on there. And of course, agility. We all talk about agile management systems. First of all, it'll be, and this is my personal thing, that most of the digital transformation happens top down, right? The only when the senior management or people who want to transform the company decide, they have to do it. It's the research says that it happens there. It is never people who are using the apps or on the edges and everything, who happen to do that. Of course, the third box, right? The processes. We've already touched about that. The digital value, whatever we want to give them, it has to be data-driven. We have the processes have to be from an operation point of view, equally transparent to their employees, the companies. So this is basically where a company has to start. They has to look at it on a holistic point of view. Your processes, your customers, the whole people point of view, and of course, technology has to be used as a competency, a core competency, and not just a support function. So this is some of the voice of the customers, where obviously the IT and the business are coming together, so much together that it is hardly very difficult to make changes, to see the difference between what is IT and what is business. You have your Ubers and Airbnbs. If you see, they can be classified as an IT company. They can also be classified as businesses, which has happened. Of course, every customer wants to move to cloud. Enterprises are seeking partners, which will help them to move into the digitization phase. And we need as disruptors, we need to organize, or recognize who those guys are going to be. Which the companies have to do that. So basically, this is what the customers are saying. This is the voice of the customers. We've been taking on, to how to help them to survive in this disruptive world, reinvent themselves. Just quick stats to give you, and I started with this stat, is that today, 56% of the airline revenue comes from digital. And it has moved, here in the span of almost like 10 years. 10, 20 years where this is coming in. So no more of, going to the travel agent to book your tickets, and everything. That's all is what is happening, in the digital world. Of course, we are, the driverless cars are being tested, and there are already, ships which are carrying containers, between certain small channels which don't have any crew. It has been now being tested right now. One of our clients, which are, in the shipping world, is actually doing that, right? It was published that there's one of the big companies which is already doing that. So I've already touched on the key components, customers, competition. These are some of the areas which some of the companies which are using it, which are happening and leading the market. Right, but in the center, you see the agile management system. I just want to bring it back again to the agile management system because it ties up all these components, because you cannot have an agile management system which is not there, because all these components, are actually the spokes which the hub is the agile management system. So now, my last chart. And now I will relate why I asked you to stand up in the beginning and talk to each other. While all this happening, the most important thing which will be left is us, the human capital, because we cannot be replicated. There is the insights. The computers are good at learning. The softwares can learn, but they cannot have critical thinking. They cannot have a foresight. They cannot have what human beings we bring in. And of course, this is going to be the biggest asset which we need to maintain and reskill ourselves, unlearn, right? And one of the things is we shouldn't be thinking that, artificial intelligence is going to take over. No, it is not going to happen. Because artificial intelligence is going to help us in doing better things, across. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.